Okay, welcome to the walkthrough for assignment 2. We're going to go ahead and jump in. We're at the My NIU page where we're describing assignment 2. I'll let you read through the directions on your own, but the general idea is that you're going to, for each of the 19 G20 member states, you're going to figure out you're going to research their their nominal GDP, their area, and their population. And you're going to create a calculated field where you're going to compare that country's area to the area of France. And you're going to calculate the mean and median for all of the countries for each of those three values. And then you're going to create a graph you're going to create one graph for one of the three variables of your choosing. There are a number of resources here to help you get started. We've got a rubric that's full of some common errors that people often make. We've got a walkthrough in case the video walkthrough doesn't work for you, which is probably not you, and an example that describes, lays it out. So I learn easiest by example, so let's take a quick look at that. I'm going to download that, and here it is opening up in Excel. So this is an example of what your assignment is going to look like. You're going to turn in an Excel spreadsheet to me. It's going to have your name in the top left. It's going to have a header row that indicates the name of the country, nominal GDP, the population, the area, and the area in francs. Here's the couple of lines where I calculate the mean and median, and then we've got a section here where we're showing you the graph. To do this, you're going to use the CIA World Factbook as a resource. So this is easy to get to. You can just simply Google CIA World Factbook. And you can browse to a number of the different countries. We can start with the United States. So we'll take a look here. The CIA World Factbook contains a lot of information. What we're interested in is the GDP per capita, which you can find under Economy. Be sure to use the GDP, not GDP per capita, the GDP official exchange rate. So you can find that here. So the GDP for the United States for 2015 is $17.97 trillion. The other two that we're interested in are the area. So in this case, we'll use the total area of the United States, which is 9,833,517 square kilometers. And we're interested in the population. Population of the United States as an estimate in July of 2015 is 321,368,864. So your job is going to be to compile that information for each of the G20 major economies. You've all taken the map quiz, so you've all seen this. But if you need to get a list of those, you can find those pretty much anywhere. You can find those here: Argentina, Australia, Brazil, Canada, China, France, Germany, India, Indonesia, Italy, Japan, South Korea, Mexico, Russia, Saudi Arabia, South Africa, Turkey, the UK, and the United States. You don't need to put the European Union on this one. Now, since if I just did this walkthrough, you could very easily see exactly, you wouldn't have to look anything up, so I'm not going to do that. Instead, I'm going to use the same 10 countries that I used here, except I'm going to start fresh and you can sort of see how I did it. So we're going to start with a new document, a new blank workbook. We're going to put my name in the top left corner. And then we need a header row. Now a header row is what defines the variables that you're using. So in this case, the name of the country is one of the variables. We've got GDP, and I'm going to put nominal GDP in. Now you need units in these, so I'm going to put units as trillions of dollars. If you double click on the arrow between the column, it's going to automatically space that, so you can see the column B is widened out a little bit. We also need the area, and this is going to be in square kilometers, and we need the population. Oops, misspelling there. Now misspellings in the header row or anywhere else in the document are not allowed, so make sure that you proof these carefully. Spell check often doesn't work inside Excel. So there's population, and then finally we're going to need area in France's. Now the order in which these appear doesn't really matter. You may find it actually a little bit easier to have population here and area here, but I won't be grading according to the order of the columns, so that's up to you. Now the names of the different countries, again, you're going to use the G20, so you can find that complete list here. For the purposes of this example, I'm just going to be using some of my countries that I pre-selected. So I'm going to grab these 10 that I used before and paste them into the document there. Now, to fill these in, I need to go to the CI World Factbook. So here I am in the CI World Factbook, and I need to find France. So I can select that via the drop-down menu. I'm going to hit F for France, and here it is right there. And then I'm going to move through each of these categories and find the information that I need. So my first category is GDP. GDP is listed here, $2.423 trillion. So we'll put that in, copy and paste. Now you'll notice that some of the formatting is a little bit odd. We can fix this later, so don't worry about that yet. But at some point we're going to need to fix that. The population of France we can find under people. Whoops, go back under people and society. So the population of France is about 66 million. Again, I'm just going to copy and paste. You'll notice that I don't use the paste button here. I use the shortcut that it's showing you right there, Control V. It might be slightly different on a Mac, but that definitely saves time as you move through these numbers. So Control C to copy and Control V to paste. Okay, so we need to find area. That's located under geography. Now you notice that there are several different parts here. So we've got metropolitan France, French Guiana, and so on. France, as we said in lecture, has held on to some of its overseas territories, and those aren't included or shouldn't be included in what we're doing here. So you want to be careful to use the total area for metropolitan France, not anything else. So I'm highlighting this 643,801 square kilometers, and that's the amount that I'm going to, oh, I'm sorry. Actually, we want, easy catch. This is the number that we want here, 551,500. This value here contains all of the extra territories, so this is the number that we want. So Control C to copy, and back in our spreadsheet, Control V to paste, and we'll worry about area in France's at the end, so don't worry about that one. Okay, we're going to need to look up the rest of these values, so let me show you an easy trick to find all of these. You'll notice at the right here we've got this sort of icon next to location, next to geographic coordinates, and so on. You'll see those icons for each of those three values. So one of the things that we can do to speed along our process here is to, instead of searching for these by country, to look at them by variable. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to click on this value. This is going to bring up the total area for each of the countries that the CI World Factbook has. So I'm going to go down my list and look for things. The second country on my list is Switzerland. So I can double click on the number, Control C for copy, and back here for area. I'm going to find Thailand, copy, paste, Egypt, copy, paste, and so on. So I'm going to do that for each of my values. I'm going to do the same thing for population and nominal GDP. So I'm going to jump cut here, and you're going to see all of those values filled in. Okay, and we're back. So I filled in the values for population and area, and I've started looking up the value for Switzerland for GDP in nominal or exchange rate, and we come across the first instance where we're going to need to be a little careful. So Switzerland has a GDP of $677 billion in 2015. Now it's important that we keep track of our units very carefully. It takes $1,000 billion to equal a trillion. So if this value were 1 trillion, we would fill in our table for 1. Since it's less than that, we know it's going to be less than 1. And basically what we're going to need to do is for GDP given in billions, we're going to need to move a decimal place leftward 3 places. So in this case, the GDP for Switzerland is going to be 0.677 billion. So we can't just cut and paste. We're going to have to type that in. And we can repeat this process. So Thailand is 373.5 billion. So that's going to be 0.3753. Here's Egypt. We've got 286.4, so 0.2864. Philippines is 299.3, so 0.2993. Finland, 230.7 billion becomes 0.2307. Algeria, 0.1751. Romania, 174.9 becomes 0.1749. New Zealand becomes 0.1706. And Paraguay becomes 0.02907. So 0.02907. And this is because the decimal place needs to be moved over 3 places. So 1, 2, and then to move it over 1 more place, we'll have to add a 0. So it's 0.02907. Now, I don't think that any of the G20 have GDPs under $100 billion, so you probably won't have to worry about that. But that's something to be careful of in general when you're filling out data like this. Okay, now you'll notice that some strange formatting has occurred here. Some of these numbers are aligned to the left, like the population of Switzerland. Some of the numbers are aligned to the right, like the population of France. This is an important thing to notice. When numbers are aligned to the left, it means that Excel has interpreted these as text. It's no different than if I type a word in, you'll notice that that aligns to the left, whereas if I type a number in, it aligns to the right. So we're going to need to fix that before we can move on. So here we go.